Right, we better crack on. You could have done with changing a plug yesterday at Heathrow. It's been accused of colossal failure after it was shut down yesterday following that fire at a local substation.
Now, they say that flights have now been resumed, but of course over 1,300 flights were cancelled, so 200,000 people impacted, and goodness knows where they are. Maybe many are still trying to get home. There are going to be delays for days.
This is an unprecedented situation, and we have not seen a closure of Heathrow on this scale for many years. Unfortunately, it will have a huge impact on all of our customers flying with us over the coming days.
Well, the Met Police say they don't think there's anything suspicious about the fire. However, counter-terror police are still investigating because the government just won't rule anything out completely at this stage.
There are no suggestions at the moment of foul play, but you will appreciate the investigation keeps an open mind, and our priority is identifying the cause as soon as possible.
Well, our reporters are out and about, as you can expect. Steve Bennett at Heathrow, Anna Riley at Manchester Airport. Let's go to you first at Heathrow, Steve. How are things looking? Does it look like normal?
Good morning to you both. Good morning, everyone. It does pretty much look like normal, actually. The airport is aiming to operate 85% of its flights today, and I'm right outside Terminal 4, the south runway, and you may be able to hear that planes are taking off as usual. Normally it's one every 45 seconds takes off or lands here at Heathrow, and it feels like it's pretty much that, to be honest. And even the roads, they seem notably busy, as do foot passengers, and we'll hope to catch up with some passengers today to see how they have been affected, or maybe they haven't been affected, because the advice is if you had a scheduled flight today, just come as usual. It's in theory business as usual, and should your flight be cancelled, the advice is to speak to your airline directly and they can put you on another flight. The priority will be to reschedule you for another flight. And as you mentioned, almost 250,000 people were affected yesterday. That's how many they expect to come through this airport on a daily basis, and a lot of those passengers and those aeroplanes themselves stranded all over the country, all over the world at different locations. And part of the process last night when flights started at about 7 o'clock, was to get those planes to where they needed to be, to repatriate people to where they need to be, get staff back to where they need to be, so that capacity could run again today. And as you mentioned, that fire in Hayes, just a couple of miles away here from London Heathrow, caused devastation for this airport yesterday, but it does feel like it's back on course today, with passengers attending as usual, with the anticipation that their flights will go as scheduled.
OK, Steve, thank you. Well, look, positive that it's looking like it's trying to get back to normal at Heathrow. But what about elsewhere across the country? Anna Riley's at Manchester Airport, where I imagine they're actually facing a busier day, are they, Anna?
That's right, Stephen. Yes, Manchester Airport being the UK's largest airport outside of Heathrow. 30 million passengers here last year, over 200 worldwide destinations for people to fly to. Indeed, it's the global gateway to the world from the north. People from Manchester Airport have told me that it's largely expected to be business as usual today, but a bit busier as people have opted to fly out from Manchester instead of waiting to see if they could go to Heathrow instead. Yesterday, we know that Manchester Airport took 5 flights that were scheduled to land in Heathrow. They instead landed in Manchester. 6 flights between Heathrow and Manchester were cancelled as a result of that fire. Now, speaking to people last night in an airport close to the airport, a hotel close to the airport, they told me it was a couple from America, actually. Their flight had been diverted to Glasgow that was meant to land in Heathrow. They took the decision actually not to get the bus that was being put on for them to go to Heathrow, and instead get the train here to Manchester so they could book a flight to Finland this afternoon and continue their journey. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people will be doing today, just to ensure that they can continue their holidays, their plans and get to their destinations where they need to be, rather than waiting at Heathrow and hoping for the best.
OK. Anna and Steve, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, of course, the incident that caused all the trouble at Heathrow yesterday is still being investigated by counter-terrorism police, we are told. The inference is not that it was a terrorist-related incident, but clearly they've got to look into that. The internet is buzzing with all sorts of conspiracy theories, which we shouldn't get excited about at this stage. But let's go and get the thoughts of former Home Office Security and Counter-Terrorism Advisor, Kevin Jewell. A very good morning to you. I mean, there's no doubt that at the moment it would be wrong to assume anything, but I can't help wondering if any potential terrorist would be looking at how easy it is to cause an incident that brings down an international airport.
And the fact that at the time at the moment we're talking about Russia and Ukraine, and ministers are saying the amount of cyber attacks that are attempted and things that do go on. And even if it turns out not to be from a hostile state, then, as you rightly say, it does shine the light on some vulnerabilities.
Yeah, I mean, bad actors, we know, go for infrastructure. I mean, we've almost provided them with a dry run, haven't we?
I think it's a case that if bad actors wanted and hostile states wanted to target someone, they would do their research anyway. But incidents like this certainly don't help, and there'll be other sites, or many other sites around the country, and other airports, Gatwick, for example. There's well-known locations that if they were targeted would cause a huge problem. So incidents like this certainly don't help. But I think hostile states themselves would do their research anyway and find where the weaknesses were.
I mean, it's interesting that on social media, at least, the Russians in the Kremlin have actually been joking, saying, oh, yeah, come on, blame us for this, blame us for this. And, of course, we don't know whether to or not, actually. But I imagine that, as you said, that from a counter-terrorist point of view, I mean, these things are being looked at all the time. And hopefully we are counteracting them all the time.
Yeah, an awful lot of work and money and resources goes into protecting the critical national infrastructure. So, from my days in the police, you've got counter-terrorism security advisors who all know where the sites are in their areas, and a lot of work goes on with government resources and security services to try and protect them. I suppose my only hope at the moment, or one of my hopes at the moment, is that when we talk about the increase in the defence budget, that some of that money will go towards up in the security around the national infrastructure as well.
Well, when you talk about your time looking at how to protect national infrastructure, surely things like Heathrow must have been on the list there. I mean, can you comprehend how a single substation has been able to take out an entire airport?
I can comprehend how it takes it out. The problem we've got is all the work and resources go into stopping it happening. So attacks and accidents, everything is aimed at stopping it happening in the first place. What I do have trouble comprehending, though, is that it's supposed to be a case that the backup generator or the backup supply was also affected. So that I do have a problem with, as to how something can go wrong. And things do happen. We have to face it. You can't protect everything, even against accidents. So the problem for me would be the fact that once that's happened, that we've got the backup system at the same location and equally affected.
Yeah. OK, look, Kevin, good to see you. Thank you.
As they always say in moments like this, lessons must be learned.
Oh, are they ever?
Well, exactly.
I had heard reports that the backup system was at the same location or very close by. Which seems absolutely blooming stupid, doesn't it?
That's not really a backup, is it?
I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a backup server next to the original server storing all your data, would you? Have it in a different location.
Yeah, you don't store all your family treasures in one box and then keep them, a backup system in the box next to it.
No.
In case there's a fire in the house or something, do you? That seems crazy. I think there's got to be an inquiry into this.
I think so.